Why be somebody else when I can be me? Why be somebody else when I can be me? You're already taken, cause I'm in the making. Cause I'ma be me, I'ma be me, I'ma be me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm so good at being good. There it is. I promise you, that song always has a tendency to shift my entire mood. The song is not telling you for you to be me. It's a song, it's an anthem encouraging you to always authentically show up as you. Why be somebody else when I can be me? Yo, that's a bop. I promise you. And if you don't have it, get it. Okay, please and thank you. It's on all your streaming platforms. Okay, and I am not going to advertise me today because it is not about me. It is about my VIP. So I want to welcome you to the show. You are on the Hear My Heart show where we pull back the curtain, we drop all the titles, and we get real about life. We get real about faith and everything that goes on in between. You know, life be happening and a lot of stuff be going on, but you are not alone in the issues and the situations that you are facing in life. But I do want to tell you who I am in the event you don't know. I am your coach. I am Coach Tiffany. I'm a wife, I'm a life coach, and I am your internet sister. Yes, I definitely believe in being sisters, being brothers. I know that that term is kind of sort of loosely said a little bit now. And lately, I guess I should say it's kind of trending, so to speak. But I real life believe in sisterhood, believe in being a family. We all need each other to survive. So if I'm calling you my sister, we need to seriously mesh. We need to connect. If I'm calling you my brother, I real life mean that. We are really connecting. And we're family. We shouldn't be doing life alone. At least that's my personal testimony. I don't want you lifing alone. So, with that being said, this is definitely a space where hearts speak, and I have an incredible individual that's going to be with me today. I call her my VIP. And I always sit down with different individuals and they get the opportunity to share their incredible stories and their struggles. And they get a chance to share their wisdom to remind you that you are seen, you're loved, and you are never alone. I real life want to sing, You Are Not Alone. I'm not a singer, so I'm not going to do that. But you got someone here with you, okay? So if you need something to drink to keep you hydrated about what we're getting ready to experience there, grab it now. But I definitely always want to encourage you to get a journal. Get something to write with because my VIPs always drop some good knowledge for you. They always have some incredible wisdom that they're sharing with you. So please, 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 one more time, please grab something to write with, grab something to write it down with. So pen and paper, pencil and paper, grab something to write with because it's about to get real. Okay. So my guest today, my VIP today, is the kind of woman you call when life is a life and some of us ladies understand when life be life and we need somebody to talk to, we need somebody to listen to us, and she's gonna be helping us with that. Sometimes you feel like your edges are gone and you need a word and a snack on today. Okay, so with that being said, I want you to help welcome my VIP, Miss Clover. Hey, sugar.
Oh, I am delighted to be here. I am so delighted to be here.
We are so thankful that you decided to share some of your non refundable time with us. I so appreciate you. But I want to know what is something that you are thankful for today?
I am thankful for the journey that I went through in raising my kids with
Okay.
inconsistent co-parenting.
Okay. Okay.
And it meant that I lived in overwhelm,
Mm.
emotional overwhelm, financial overwhelm. And when they were young, under 10, physical overwhelm.
Mm.
And I am very thankful that I'm here to tell my story and to share my journey, because it's always said that it can be a life vest for somebody else to use to float, right? And that's what I'm really interested in doing, because I am not underscoring the fact that it was tough. It was tough because of the lack of support, the inadequacy of support. You never knew when it was coming. You didn't know if it was coming. And this applied to all areas. Didn't know if you could call to get that prescription. You didn't know when the child support was coming. You didn't know if the person who was hired to pick them up to go to school was going to be paid. So there were so many ifs that you just, after a while, you realize that you have to just take the reins, because emotionally it's better for you to take the reins and focus and plan on your limited resources than depending on a source that may never show up.
Okay.
So that was my lived reality.
Okay. So that's what you're thankful for, that you were able to live through that reality.
I was able to live through it. And you know what? I have no known illnesses.
Okay.
So I was talking to somebody this morning, having a very short conversation, and I think they asked me the very same thing. And I said, yes, I knew people who went into depression. They had to be on antidepressants. I knew people who became chronically ill, right? And so you're on meds for the rest of your life. I knew people who had to stop working for good, couldn't go back to work, right? And overall, I think what hits most of us in this season of life, divorce, breakup, and all the related issues, is shame. Our go-to, like our default emotion, is always shame. And we turn inward all of a sudden. What did I do? Oh, I must have been no good. And we begin to tell ourselves these negative shame scripts, these really negative shame scripts.
Sure.
Right? Nobody else will want me. You know, I'm just not going to get over this. How am I going to get over? How am I going to move forward? And we do not realize that we are emotionally at the lowest points in our lives, where what we should be really seeking to do is to just breathe and begin to offer some self-compassion and some self-care. Because when you're down on yourself, right, you're not thinking straight. You just don't have the clarity. In fact, I call this season the season of the F's, right?
Okay.
It's the fight, the flight.
I was going to say, you about to cuss at me?
The freeze and the freak out, right?
Okay. The fight, the fight.
The fight, the flight, the fright, the freeze, and the freak out.
Oh, that's 5 of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
So some of us may be going through all 5, but some of us may be just going through 1 or 2, right? And we can remain there for a while, but we have to understand that what we have been through is trauma. Sure. And I think that is also something that is not sufficiently spoken about, that when we go through divorce and breakup, especially in relationships that were long-term and that had children, it is a real problem because it is a grief season. You are grieving the loss of the relationship.
Sure.
You're grieving the loss of expectation. You are grieving the loss of the identity that you were wrapped up with. You were a family unit. And now you have to disentangle all of this. And I sometimes remember this incident that happened to me. It was in the very early days. And I was in a supermarket, and you always feel as if, boy, I'm going to run into somebody who's going to ask me for him.
Sure.
And you just don't want that to happen because you just have this sense of, what are they going to think?
Okay.
And so that particular day, I ran into a friend who I had worked with in my early days
Mm-hmm.
after
Okay.
graduating from university.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she asked me for family and the kids, which is what everybody does.
Okay.
And I said to her, maybe in a bit of a downtrodden voice, I
Sure.
said, we're no longer together. And she looked at me with the brightest eyes, because she had big eyes, and she said, "You too? Welcome to the club."
Uh-oh. Oh,
I didn't know that she had separated from her husband.
oh,
But
yeah.
guess what? I felt such a sense of relief
Mm-hmm.
to know that, guess what? You are not alone. Here is somebody else. And I knew this woman. She was a committed mother. She was good at what she did.
Mm-hmm.
And she was also very hardworking. And when she said
Mm-hmm.
that to me, I got such a lift. So I do understand that breakup and divorce is trauma.
Sure.
And then we have to allow ourselves to go through the grieving process, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we often hear about these different stages of grieving. We hear about the shock, the denial, the anger, the bargaining, depression, acceptance. And I just want to say to people, grieving is not linear. It's not linear.
Okay.
And grief, divorce and breakup grief is real. It's what we call disenfranchised grief. Because guess what? It's not publicly acknowledged and recognized in the way that the death of a spouse would be.
Okay.
And yet it ranks in the most emotionally devastating. The top three, it ranks in the top three of the emotionally most devastating experiences that we can have.
Okay.
But I remember for my own,
Mm-hmm.
I was in shock for a long time because I never knew that somebody could really totally abandon your family. These are infants,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We had a hurricane, the roof was blown off. I had to relocate to my mom. And there was he telling me, where I'm going, you can't come. And there was I with a 5-week-old baby and a 4-year-old.
Wait, hold on, pause. Wait, hurricane just happened and y'all got babies. Y'all was a whole family unit.
Mhm.
So the family, you found out separation was going to happen during a hurricane?
Well, I didn't even find out then. So I went to my mom's because I had no other way. The water supply was cut off, the electricity was cut off. Those were the days when mobile phones were not mainstream by any means, even the phone service. So it actually took me about 5 days for them to actually come and get me, right?
Okay. Mhm.
But while I was there, I noticed I wasn't hearing from him,
Okay.
right? And I remember the 5-week-old baby got sick. She got throat ulcers,
Oh.
and she was having swallowing issues.
Mhm.
And so my brother took me to his pediatrician so that they could check her out.
Mhm.
And he did confirm that was the case. And I remember him saying to me, "But you will have to wait about a week for this to clear up." And I'm saying, "An infant?"
Mhm.
And my brother said to me, "Clover, let's go back to Kingston tomorrow and you go to your pediatrician." And we did exactly that. And she said,
Okay.
"Yes, this is exactly the diagnosis, but I am not going to treat it. You're going to go down to the ENT clinic." And there I went. He made the same diagnosis,
Uh-huh.
gave me a prescription that meant her throat had to be painted morning and evening so that it would be numb enough for her to be able
Swallow,
to
eat.
suckle and to
Mhm.
continue feeding.
Mhm.
That cleared up in about a week, and I messaged him and let him know that I would have been in Kingston and this was the situation. And he
Mhm.
just never showed up. He never showed up. And in all the time I was with my parents, he showed up only once. So when I say this was emotionally devastating, remember I was still in the postpartum season.
Okay.
And when you talk about being grateful, I am grateful because
Mhm.
I could have gone into spiral right down to rock bottom into a
Correct.
depression, maybe never to come out of that,
Mhm.
right? So when I say that I'm thankful, I live with gratitude that I made it through that season of life, that I was able to return to work, um, make a plan because still had two young children, still
Sure.
going through this grieving process,
Mhm.
still living in shock of and coming to terms of what's happening.
Mhm.
Um, no child support showing up yet in this season.
Mhm.
So I had to create a plan
Sure.
that was dependent on me
Mhm.
emotionally, physically, and financially.
Mhm.
It had to be me.
Mhm.
So it was a difficult season. And I know, as I said, I am not alone. So I'm
Right.
speaking to people who are going through similar challenges,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
They may not be the exact same. Maybe the person did a runoff
Yeah.
when you had no roof or
Mhm.
in postpartum,
Mhm.
but there are other issues that
Sure.
are just as emotionally devastating.
Sure. What do you think the lesson is that God taught you through that particular season that you went through that you still carry with you today?
All right, so I am glad you brought that up because faith was a huge part
Okay.
of my healing
Okay.
and growth, but it was a huge part of my healing.
Mhm.
And here's why. My I was fortunate to grow up in a traditional nuclear family,
Okay.
and both of my parents were Christian and very involved in all the church activities.
Okay.
So I saw Christianity at work,
Okay.
right? My parents may not have been spirit filled speaking in tongues
Okay.
because I never heard that,
Okay.
but I saw them helping somebody every day,
Wow.
right? I saw them helping family. I saw them getting people into college. I
Mhm.
saw them lending money for people to go to school.
Mhm.
Um, they were always involved with their family and
Sure.
community, and they
Amazing.
were well respected in their community.
Mhm.
So the way my parents lived, it gave me a template of how I should move forward.
Okay.
But more than anything else, it taught me grit and perseverance because I
Mhm.
saw my mother as a bold, courageous woman who just never gave up. She just
Mhm.
never gave up. It didn't matter what the circumstances were. She
Mhm.
just kept going and she just kept praying. And I knew she was praying because she was not a quiet woman. And she
Okay.
would always be blurting out her scriptures.
Uh-huh.
And one of her favorites was, "On Christ, the solid rock I
Yeah.
stand.
Uh-huh.
All other ground is sinking sand."
Yeah.
So I knew she was a woman of faith. I saw her standing on it, I saw her executing.
Uh-huh.
So that gave me a lot of courage. And
Mhm.
something she always said, we had a family member, and she always would sometimes say, Evadne said I should come to the US as well, just
Mhm.
like she did. But
Okay.
I remind her each time that she had a mom to leave her children with.
Mhm.
I didn't have one. And
Mhm.
so I cannot leave my children.
Yeah.
And I think that just stuck with me. No,
Okay.
I can't leave my children. No, I can't leave my children.
Mhm.
Wherever I'm going, I am taking them. And they are
Mhm.
actually way too young at this stage.
Mhm.
And as I said, what really occurred to me was, Clover, what if you didn't have a basic education? I always remember this coming to me.
Mhm. Mhm.
You and your kids would be eating grass, right? And so that is where that desire to hang in there and to ensure that everybody got to college and university so that they could stand on their own 2 feet
Mhm.
in the event that any of these enormous life challenges faced them.
Okay.
And life challenges doesn't have to be divorce alone, it could be a disability. There are so many. But the fact is, My driver was the vision to equip them to cope with the demands of life, even the curved balls.
Okay. Okay. What does healthy co-parenting look like to you?
Okay, so healthy co-parenting, and this is my tagline.
Sure.
I support single and divorced moms
Mm-hmm.
to regain self-confidence,
Mm-hmm.
achieve self-empowerment, to navigate difficult co-parenting
Mm-hmm.
successfully, which is peacefully,
Mm-hmm.
using my 3-pillar heal, grow, and thrive method.
Right.
Now, in an ideal world, co-parenting means shared co-parenting,
Okay.
right? And shared co-parenting means shared time.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you go to dad every other weekend, or I see a more modern approach now where the kid goes off on a Wednesday evening and they come back on a Sunday. So it's like a split week.
Yeah.
Um, However, the shared co-parenting time, it is most important that the kids have that shared time.
Okay.
Here's why. Kids are a product of mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
And when kids are made to feel any form of alienation, it is going to damage their self-esteem.
Okay.
Despite what we know of the shortcomings of the other person or they know about us, your kids are not interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
So there are 3 important nuggets
Okay.
I consider. So one of them is shared co-parenting. Another one is do not run off halfway around the world or 1,000 miles away. Try to stick in the same radius that you were before. So maybe at the most a 30-minute drive. So the kids keep their school district, they keep their social circle, they keep their sporting connections, because all of that is fostering and shaping their emotional wellness and their personal and spiritual growth. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to break a child's spirit. And maybe most important, but what may not be popular, is couples counseling. And when I say couples counseling, don't let your hair stand on end. No, you don't have to do it together.
Mm-hmm.
But there is usually a legacy of tension and bitterness from the relationship breakup. Because let's face it, the fact that we got to the stage of a breakup, it means that something wasn't working
Sure.
for one party, right? And they felt the need to just end the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a lot of tension in those early days. I
Sure.
would say for 6 months, sometimes it's even more, it goes into years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get counseling as to how to communicate, because there are some people who cannot speak to their ex in the first couple months
Mm-hmm.
because there is so much verbal abuse. And verbal abuse doesn't come just from voice, it comes in text. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I
Right.
have seen the text, they're
Mm-hmm.
expletives, they're abusive,
Yeah.
right?
It could be rough.
So they're terrible,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even to communicate handovers, sometimes it cannot be done by the parents. And I say, get a proxy,
Yeah.
but get yourself coached on how to communicate with your ex,
Mm-hmm.
because at some point it is going to be crucial.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I say: we couldn't work it out together when we were in the same household.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that we're not together,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean that this is not going to be a long-term relationship. Because if, like me, your kids were 5 weeks and 4 years old,
Mm-hmm.
there is the high school graduation,
Mm-hmm.
there's a university graduation, there's the engagement party, there is the weddings, there is the blessings of the babies,
Mm-hmm.
there are family events. You are
Okay.
going to be constantly be in touch. maybe not with the same level of intimacy, but it is going to that communication and connection. It cannot die because you have these kids that are a kind of cement. So know that the cement has hardened, right? You have to find a way to communicate in a respectful, in a mutually respectful manner with civility so that your kids can see that.
Right.
You don't want that your child, the phone rings, and the minute your ex's number come up, your face contorts. You start hissing your teeth, you start bristling because children pick up on it.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm not saying we are perfect and all of us are going to have some issues in the beginning, but we have to work on it.
Did you ever experience that? Like when your kid's father called you, you was like, oh my God, this son of a biscuit is calling me. Like, here, you know what? Answer the phone. It's your daddy.
Okay. My early days, I spent so much of it in shock.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, my own family structure, because they were young, I allowed him access to the household, even though he was no longer living there.
Okay.
Why?
Access meaning come into the house?
Come in to visit them because they were infants, and I would have been, I would have felt more comfortable for him coming there because I wouldn't know where he's taking them.
Okay.
And that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a season when he didn't have a car and he was borrowing somebody else's car. And so I accommodated that for a number of years for the safety and the security of my kids. Right? He didn't come into the bedrooms or anything like that, but he was allowed access. And that was because of how young they were. And everyone has to make a judgment call. However, later in life, here is when I grimaced, and maybe it was a reliving of my own pain.
Okay.
Like I remember there was a season, I think my second child would have been about 10, 11, 12, that age range. And so he would promise to take them for the weekend. And this promise was made over and over again. And he would take them, but then he brought them back the same day, just a couple of hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And there were times when she was at the point of tears and she would say to me, why does he promise to have us over for the weekend? And then he brings us back. Why, mommy, why? And then, of course, I'm stabbed in the heart again and I relive the pain because every time your child hurt at that age, you hurt again. So this is the kind of thing where I say we need that level up. We need the counseling.
Okay.
Because you get through to a certain point, but you are reliving the pain of your children.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I grimaced because he wasn't living up to expectations. And that's okay where it concerned me. But when you are doing it to your children now, it was just causing your children pain. It was causing them not to trust you. And especially for girls, the relationship that you have with your father is a determinative relationship. It sets the standards of how you view men and what they represent.
Okay.
So that issue of distrust, I'm sure, was building up. And the issue of not being reliable.
Okay.
Right? You're not being a person of your word. So I remember my older daughter at the time, by this time she was early teens, and I just heard her say one day, you know what? Daddy will always be daddy. And Why I felt sad? Because I read it to mean that
Mhm.
I'm accepting his standard of behavior because I don't see any change. So
Wow.
I just have to accept it.
Mhm.
And so those were times when I felt stabbed in the heart. I grimaced, I shook my head, and wondered why.
Mhm.
Because I am a mother and I cannot be a father. And I think
Mhm.
that's something a lot of us struggle with. And
Mhm.
don't try to be both, it is impossible. We have completely different inputs.
Mhm.
A
Right.
dad is a standard bearer, and especially for his daughters.
Mhm.
In fact, there's a very notable psychologist, Kevin Lehman, who has written a book on this.
Okay.
Be the man your daughter marries.
Mhm.
And what he's saying is that you have an opportunity to set that standard for what intimacy looks like by the relationship that you have with your daughter.
Okay.
You date your daughter, right? You let her feel that level of importance. You
Mhm.
set aside time for her. You don't criticize, you support. And as they get into the teenage years, the more obstreperous they become, if they do become like that, or they push you away, don't take it
Mhm.
as a way that they want to distance you. It's just a part of the teenage journey.
Mhm.
Just accept that
Yeah.
that's what they're going through, but just hang in there and be there for them,
Mhm.
right? Because the alternative to that is they end up choosing a dad that presents, they end up choosing a mate or a husband or a boyfriend that shows up with the same inadequacies.
Okay.
And then you wonder why.
Mhm.
And then they're in a very vulnerable position. So it's teenage pregnancy, it's addictions,
Mhm.
school dropouts, and the statistics bears this out.
Mhm.
So it is really a challenge. It's really a challenge
Mhm.
to raise children in the co-parenting space, but it requires commitment from both parties.
Mhm.
And I cannot emphasize how much that a mother cannot be a dad and a dad cannot be a
Totally
mom.
can. Like you said, there's
And
two totally different inputs. You are built differently. It takes a mom and a dad to create that. So
absolutely.
I know like Mother's Day and Father's Day always come around every single year. And one thing I absolutely hate to see, I grasp the concept of what they're making reference to, but I hate when Father's Day comes around and mothers get so happy Father's Day. And I'm like, don't ever say that to me because I'm not my kid's father. Like I grasp the concept because at one point in time, I had to take on not really dual roles, but I had a lot of responsibility that is father. I'm the mom, and that's it. And that's all I want to be. I appreciate my ovaries and I
Absolutely.
appreciate my
Absolutely.
boobs. So that's all that
Absolutely.
is. Tell me this: what is one word of encouragement that you have that you could leave with someone who's listening today that might be in their valley experience? They may have their own valleys that they're dealing with, especially us, like we are making reference to. You are a coach and you help single moms with co-parenting and
Mhm.
developing their self-identity and their self-worth. What is something that you can leave to encourage them and encourage their heart while they're in their experience?
Wherever you are in life, go for clarity in where how you want to move forward,
Okay.
because it's definitely a life of moving forward.
Mhm.
You cannot afford to stay stuck.
Yeah.
And that takes courage. So you have to do it afraid. You will never have all your ducks lined up in a row.
Okay.
I took a huge leap
Mhm.
when I decided one child was 5, one was 13.
Mhm.
My eldest wanted to stay and finish grade 12.
Mhm.
And I took the leap of faith because the opportunity presented itself and went to graduate school in the UK. And I remember I borrowed And that was what my credit allowed me. I borrowed half of my school fee and half of my accommodation.
Mhm.
And I didn't know where the rest of the money was coming from. And off I went with a 5-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Mhm.
Because by this time, I said, it's now or never. I need to get ahead of these kids before they are ready for college.
Mhm.
So you need to get clarity, you need to have the courage, and the confidence comes from your personal and professional development.
Mhm.
Whatever skills you have, sharpen those skills. I cannot emphasize that. Sharpen those skills. And the good thing is now you have so many online income earning opportunities which were not available in my season of raising my children. So create with all the violence and the uproar that comes in the co-parenting space,
Mhm.
the volatility, emotional roller coaster, and the void and emptiness that you battle in this season, because that's a huge battle. That emptiness and void where
Mhm.
you keep asking why.
Mhm.
Create a vision. The antidote for those three V's is the vision that you are going to create for your future
Mhm.
and your children's future.
Okay.
And that vision is a version of your life plan. And none of us can create a life plan for 20, 30, 40 years. But how about starting with what I want to do in the next 5 years? And when you complete that 5 years, you look at the next 5 years. Trust me, you will now have developed the confidence, having accomplished what you set out, those goals that you accomplished in the first 5 years. You're going to say, wow, I can do it. And then you set the next five-year goals. And I promise you, when you get to that second set of 5-year goals, you are going to look back and say, my, I did it and I can do more. So it's all about looking ahead and moving forward.
Okay, that's good stuff. Well, I so appreciate you, Miss Clover. You're absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. I hope your hearts and your ears, your mind, your soul, your spirit has been encouraged today by something that was said today by my VIP. She dropped some knowledge for you guys. So hopefully that you'll get, what was the three V's again?
The three V's, the volatility, the violence, and the void.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? And the antidote is your vision for the future.
Good stuff. So make sure you stay clear on what your vision is for the future. Don't lose sight of what your vision is for the future. She dropped some a wonderful knowledge. Beautiful thing is this is recorded. So if you missed anything and you didn't take notes, but if you didn't do it, it is a-okay. This is something that you get the opportunity to go back on. This is something that you get a chance to refresh all of the time. So put it in your save folder, put it in your file. Make sure that you keep it somewhere accessible that you get a chance to come back and you get the opportunity to listen to it. But I want to say to please, please, please do me a super huge favor. Like the show while I'm sharing this with you. Share this with someone so that you'll be able to help somebody else along this particular journey. And if you are not following me, do it now. Push the subscribe button if you're looking on YouTube. Push the follow button if you're watching on Facebook. Or if you're listening to it on the podcasting networks, make sure that you just push the follow button and stay connected with me, because there is always something heart healing that's going on over here. There's always some kind of goodness and some heart shifting that's happening over here. So I want you to make sure that you stay connected. So follow me as long wherever you're or listening to this on. Make sure that you stay connected. All right, share this with your people. Share this on your timeline. Send a text message to somebody, but they need to be able to hear all of this goodness, okay? Because we are building a community of hope over here, and you are invited. So I absolutely love it. Until next time, make sure that you just tune in, okay? Because your story matters and your heart is heard. And you are so loved by me. All right. That's going to be it. I ain't got nothing else for you. Grace and peace, y'all. You want to make sure you say bye to them?
Yes. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
I appreciate you, sis. See y'all next week. Grace and peace.